staying with us here on the Urban Debate. We put the spotlight now on Cyclone Tauktae, the severely cyclonic storm that has now begun its landfall in the state of Gujarat after really leaving behind a trail of destruction and creating havoc all along the western coast, starting from Kerala a couple of days ago, and then Karnataka, Goa. All of today, it was largely Maharashtra that suffered the consequences and bore the brunt of this severely cyclonic storm. And now it is making its landfall in Gujarat. So all the attention is about what's happening in the state of Gujarat, where the chief minister, as well as the top officials of the state, are currently in the state war room, the control room that is monitoring the situation. The cyclone so far has claimed 19 lives across the 4 states. Red alert, not just for the coastal line of Gujarat where the landfall is happening, but also along the coastal cities and districts of Maharashtra, including Mumbai, Raigad, Thane, where a red alert was sounded off a couple of hours ago. And it is expected that there will be heavy rainfall through the night as well. Extremely strong gusty winds. This is essentially the kind of wind and the wind speed that we saw during Cyclone Nisarg. Even though the eye of the storm never hit Mumbai, these are the kind of strong winds we saw then, and that's what we are looking at right now. Let me go across to Disha for the latest on the cyclone as it makes its landfall in Gujarat. Disha, what is the level of preparation there, and what, the fact that this is going to now continue for the next 2 to 3 hours, what have the authorities prepared?
Certainly, Tanvi, just to update our viewers, Cyclone Tauktae has started its landfall process between 8 to 8:30 p.m. It has hit the coast of Gujarat between Porbandar and Mahua, which is in the Bhavnagar district of Gujarat. And at this given point in time, as per the IMD's latest update, the landfall process will continue for nearly 3 hours or so. It is continuing as we speak, and it will take another 3 hours to complete the landfall process. As far as the preparations are concerned, currently as we speak, the Chief Minister of the state as well as the top government officials, they are there at this state's control room monitoring the entire situation and specifically the affected districts. Remember that today through the day, more than 2 lakh people from 655 villages of 17 districts in the state of Gujarat were shifted to safer locations, and these particularly districts that will likely see an impact is Gir Somnath, Amreli, Junakad and Bhavnagar. So most of people have been have been shifted from these low-lying areas to safer locations. As we speak, there are about more than 40 NDRF teams as well as 10 SDRF teams that are deployed for the relief and the rescue process is what we are being told. As we speak as well, the Gujarat Chief Minister has just updated that there are about tree falls and power failures at places in impacted talukas reported in connection with this cyclone. But the bigger relief here is that it's been almost an hour that the landfall process has started, but all the hospitals are unimpacted. So that's indeed a relief sign here coming in, because remember, Tanvi, COVID pandemic is also another challenge that the Gujarat state is really facing. On the ground, of course, all the COVID-dedicated hospitals...
Okay, so Disha, stay on with me. Disha, stay on with me. I think the Gujarat Chief Minister is also giving us an update, so I want you to... Okay, we're going to get back to that in just a bit and get an update from the Gujarat Chief Minister as well. And we will also have, experts joining us on this conversation as we get more and more angles. Mr. Mahesh Palawat of SkyMet is with us, and Mr. Mohsen Shahidi, DIG Operations for NDRF, also joining me right now. Mr. Mohsen Shahidi, let me start off with you first. Of course, now a larger attention on what's happening around coastal Gujarat, but even some parts of coastal Maharashtra still being badly hit. What has been the extent of calls that the NDRF has got so far, and the challenges that you are expecting now in the next few hours?
Well, as you know, the landfall has begun at around 8:30 hours in the evening, and this will go on for the next 3 to 4 hours. So this is very crucial period, because the maximum damage on the coastal areas would be during this period. And we have definitely will be getting clarion calls, and we have to prioritize our response in this situation. As you know, a lot of NDRF teams, we have SDRF deployed, especially in Gujarat, we have 44 teams. And we had to, in fact, rush in 30 additional teams from various parts of the country to give thrust to the rescue and relief operations. So we are all prepared for this, and we are just waiting because we have to see how the cyclone behaves. Once it hits this thing, the speed of the cyclone is very high, 135 to 165 is the speed, and I think that would do some damage. Even though a lot of efforts have been made, to evacuate the people, to keep the major roads and the highways open. We have been continuously, our boys have been on the ground instructing the locals to stay indoors till the, the impact lessons. And we are all up and agog to assist the administration in maintaining all the, important routes and the movement of the important systems, especially the, oxygen and other necessities.
Yes, do stay on with me, Mr. Shahidi. I will come back to interest a bit. Let me also bring in Mahesh Palawat on this. Mr. Palawat, basis your recent now study of, what the satellite imagery and various equipment is picking up, can we expect things to, when can we expect the cyclone to start weakening? Like Mr. Shahidi was pointing out, the winds are extremely strong and at a very, very high speed, what we're witnessing right now.
Yes, winds were reported around 110 to 120 kilometers at 1800 hours. And as the cyclone is now making landfall, the eye of landfall has a diameter of around 35 to 40 kilometers, and it is moving with a speed of 15 kilometers per hour. Therefore, it will take 2.5 hours to complete the landfall. And after the landfall, the moisture feed, which is available from Arabian Sea to the cyclone, will start depleting, and it will degenerate rapidly into a severe cyclone, thereafter into a cyclone, and deep depression, then depression. So after making landfall, we expect that rain activities will be heavy to very heavy over many parts of interior Gujarat, particularly Amreli, Rajkot, Batod, Jamnagar, Surendranagar, Ahmedabad, as well as then northern parts of Gujarat like Sabarkantha, Banaskantha, Mahesana, Patan, Idar. All these areas are going to get heavy to very heavy rain. After landfall, so, as we have seen in the case of Mumbai, when it was around 200 kilometers away in northwesterly direction of Mumbai, and Mumbai was still receiving heavy to very heavy showers with strong winds in the excess of 100 kilometers per hour. Therefore, we can say that after making landfall, the next 3 to 4 hours, or you can say 5 to 6 hours, are very crucial for coastal districts of Gujarat, right from Junagadh, Porbandar, Verawal, Gir Somnath, and Bhavnagar. Yeah.
Yes, and basis the areas that you've just pointed out, if I can just take this back to Mr. Mohsen Shahidi. Mr. Shahidi, so for these areas, how do we ensure that the civilian population remains safe, especially because in that process of landfall in the next few hours will be in the middle of the night?
Yes, a lot of efforts have been made to evacuate almost more than 2 lakh people from the danger zone to safe areas, especially from the coastal areas. And we know that the marauding speed of the cyclone could trigger landslide, flooding, and in some areas, even building collapse could occur. So we are ready for all eventualities. And constant announcements are being made to the people to stay indoors, to remain inside their houses.
Okay, and considering that this is also a highly industrial zone and large part of this coastline is also a very well established port, do you foresee some infrastructural damage possibility as well?
The speed of the cyclone and all, there could be damage to the infrastructure, and that will come to know only when the cyclone crosses and the landfall is complete, in fact.
Okay, okay. Mr. Mohsen Shahidi, you're obviously an extremely busy man right now and you're going to have an extremely long night as well. So I'm going to thank you for joining us. But I request Mr. Mahesh Palawat to continue with us because I have a few more, questions to ask Mr. Palawat. Let me just now also turn our attention to what's happened in Maharashtra through the day. What we are going to see next, of course, is the impact on Gujarat as the landfall happens. But in Maharashtra, and Santya is actually joining me with more details as far as the extent of Maharashtra's impact is concerned, Santya. Especially the fact that we know two different boats with now together over about 450 people still stranded in the high seas. Some of those people have been rescued, ships have been called in. But how did this happen? The warning about this cyclone has been out there for several days. How are these people allowed to stay on at these places?
Yet to come. What we have been told that SOP regarding cyclone alert was followed. Both the vessels were secured with the anchors. If we talk about the first barge, actually, that is P305, which has 273 people stranded near Bombay High. And on that particular vessel, prima facie, it is suspected that the ropes which were used to secure the barge, they got damaged. That resulted into a drifting of this particular barge. But a detailed inquiry has to happen in both the cases. And the officials have said that only after the detailed inquiry, it will be concluded whether the SOP regarding the cyclone alert was followed or not. And if it was followed, what exactly led to this drifting, Tanvi?
Okay, in fact, we lost a bit of an initial audio line with you, Santya. So I'm just going to reiterate here. The first barge, there are two Indian Coast Guard ships which are likely to reach the spot anytime. Another ship, Samarth, will also be diverted, is being diverted to rescue operation here. So about 3 Coast Guard vessels that have been deployed in the first to rescue people from the first barge. For the second barge as well, which is a GAL constructor, the Indian Coast Guard ship Samrat will be reaching the spot by 11:30 p.m. So these people there, on these two different boats or ships have been stranded there through the day. 137 people on one, 273 people on the other, and by early evening the SOS messages came in asking for these people to be rescued from these boats, and which is when larger ships were deployed to go and get these people back. The other aspect, Santya, that I wanted to speak to you about and highlight is the Mumbai's broken radar. Now, this is the second straight year, Santya, where the same problem has happened, which we've only discovered when the cyclone has hit us. Tell us more about that.
Yes, Tanvi. So let me start with what happened last year. So last year, when Nisarg was all set to make a landfall on 3rd of June, it was on 1st of June we got to know that the Doppler weather radar of IMD Mumbai was not functional. We were told that it was a technical glitch which was there in the radar and it was being maintained. The repair work was going on, and it was late on 1st of June, between the hours of 1st of June, late night and early morning 2nd of June, we were told that the radar was now properly repaired. But remember, that was barely a day before the landfall actually happened, and that too in Alibag, which is barely few kilometers from Mumbai. This year, it was a sort of deja vu which happened because today is the day when landfall is going to happen, and we have been told that since yesterday, once again, the Doppler weather radar has stopped working. We are again told that it's a technical glitch, the technical issue which is there with the radar, and the maintenance work is going on, and the maintenance and repair work is going on. Now, the importance of this radar is, Tanvi, that this is actually helpful in issuing nowcast warnings. Nowcast warnings as in weather warnings for next 3 hours. So these warnings are crucial for the people also to understand what exactly is going to happen in next 3 hours, so they can or cannot step outside based on that particular warning. And that also is an immediate alert for the authorities as well to take immediate steps if required on ground to ensure there is no unpleasant incident. So a nowcast warning is extremely important. Now, IMD officials have told our colleague Ayushman that they have accepted that yes, there was an impact on radar-based information because of this particular technical error which was there in the radar. But they have also claimed that how they used alternatives in order to ensure that the nowcast warning does not get impacted. But remember, Tanvi, if we talk about the impact which was, it got affected because if we talk about the extremely heavy rainfall warning, the first extremely heavy rainfall warning actually came in at around 2:13 p.m. But in Mumbai, the extremely heavy rainfall started much before that. That is between 11:30 to 11:30 a.m. to 12 noon, which means a warning which should have been there at least 3 hours.
Yeah.
Was delayed. And if we talk about the starting of this, a nowcast warning has to be 3 hours in advance. So there was a delay of that.
Okay, Santya. Thanks so much for bringing us both of those stories and updates. Now, I am no expert, so I'm not going to hazard a guess of whether the alerts that we did finally get from the IMD, whether the orange alert or red alert were timely or there was a delay. But I definitely do have concerns that our alert system and crucial equipment which is part of that system hasn't been working. It wasn't working last year. We were told it was fixed. I don't know what kind of fixing happened. Maybe just like the Mumbai roads, by the time the next monsoon and the next cyclone has come, we are back to square one. And it is now being done all over again. It's not available to us during the cyclone time. Now, the IMD told us that they are using alternate, sources. And obviously, there are many sources that you use to then give us a complete picture. But this part is not available. And Mr. Mahesh Pilawat, can you help us understand what is this Doppler radar? What does it do? And whether, it impacts the ability of any agency then to timely give us warnings?
Yes, Doppler radar is a very useful equipment. Not only IMD, we in SkyMet also follow follow these radars, and particularly on the western parts of the country, west coast of the country, number of radars are very less. One is in Travantapuram, next one is in Kochi and Goa, then Mumbai, then recently they have installed a radar in Bhuj. These Doppler radars are cloud tracking, rain-bearing cloud tracking devices. There is an ecosystem. When they send a wave and when there is some obstruction, it you can understand in layman language. The image of rain-bearing cloud is seen by Doppler radar. So we can make out at what point or what area or diameter the rain-bearing cloud or thunder cloud, or you can say the cloud which is capable of giving hailstorm or very heavy rain can be seen, and we can track its movement. And if it is moving in westerly direction or northerly direction, then we can pinpoint the area of impact for next 2 to 3 hours where it is going to rain heavy or very heavy. So by the extent of we can say extent of that cloud, the development of that cloud, at up to what height it is the cloud has developed. If it is 10 to 12 kilometer or 12 to 14 kilometer vertical extent is there, then it is capable of giving heavy to very heavy rain. So it is very useful device. But unfortunately, the Doppler radar of Mumbai Doppler radar was not functional. That's why there was some delay in giving this nowcast. Although IMD and SkyMet, all weather agencies were tracking the movement of this cyclone with the help of satellite picture and other equipment, but they were not able to fulfill the requirement which is usually done by Doppler radar. Yeah.
So let me ask you this question, because now we are trying to understand, and thank you for explaining, what it does and how crucial it is in, making these kind of predictions. But how is that we heard the same thing last year, and now again another technical problem has happened? Who is responsible for the maintenance of this specific Doppler effect? Is it with the weather agencies? Is it with the governments or with a private entity?
This is with weather agency. They are responsible for maintaining the radar. But today I have seen Mr. Mahapatra, DG IMD, has said that the second radar is going to get installed over Mumbai, and it will, we can say, compensate the loss of this radar. So there will be 2 radars. if one is under maintenance, that second radar will be functional. But I want to add that there should be more number of radar along the west coast, because now the Arabian Sea is warming up and intensity and frequency of cyclones are going high. So since last 2 to 3 years, we have seen that number of cyclones developing Arabian Sea are increasing. And in 2019, we have seen 5 cyclones developing in Arabian Sea. Earlier, the Bay of Bengal was warmer than Arabian Sea. So therefore, the number of cyclones used to form over Bay of Bengal were 7:3. If 7 cyclones form in Bay of Bengal, there used to be 3 cyclones in Arabian Sea. Now they are almost equal, because warming of sea surface temperature in Arabian Sea is taking place due to climate change and global warming. And this time, in the case of this particular cyclone, we have seen the sea surface temperature, which used to be around 26 to 27 degrees. Now they were in the order of 30 to 31 degrees Celsius. The warmer the sea surface temperature, the more intense, the more chances to formation of an intense cyclone, which we have seen this year. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And that is also deeply concerning, especially for those of us who do stay on this side of the country's coast and are closer to Arabian Sea. But you are right that this has become a larger trend, which I think essentially also means that we will have to step up on our equipment, on the setups that we have to track these cyclones and strengthen it even on this coast. Thank you so much, Mr. Palawat. Always a pleasure to have you on the show and to listen to you as well. Let me also tell our viewers that while Gujarat we'll be closely tracking what happens in Gujarat over the next 12 hours. Maharashtra today bore quite a bit of brunt of it. So, for example, in Mumbai, there was extremely heavy rainfall. And as you just heard from the experts as well, there was some amount of delay in putting out these alerts because the Doppler radar is not working. But the heavy rainfall led to overflooded roads in parts of the city. The massive uprooting of trees also took place. Cars and bikes were seen running on flooded roads. People wading through almost knee-deep water, and this is in the monsoon season. This is the result of this cyclonic storm. Sindhudurg in Maharashtra also saw major damage due to really strong winds accompanied by the storm. In fact, the visuals that we got showed an extremely turbulent sea with high waves crashing onto the shore. Electricity in almost the entire district was disrupted. In Gujarat's Valsad, we saw heavy rain and strong winds earlier in the day. Several trees were damaged, uprooted, and that also led to a damage of the power lines in that entire zone. Logs and debris were seen lying around on the roads as well. The cyclone didn't spare Daman either, so heavy wind and rainfall left a house in disarray in Daman. Water got into this house and household items were strewn throughout the house. The story across many villages and districts along the western coast today. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the Urban Debate, keeping a close eye on the cyclone. Thank you so much for joining us for now.